Okay, this is a quick video to show you how to find the linear regression using a TI-84 or 83 plus graphing calculator. So here's my data over here. This is the data that is showing the cost of tuition at a state university from the years 1997 to 2001, and we're going to let 0 be the year 1997. And then just adding 1 for each year. 1 will be 1998, 2 will be 1999, 3 will be 2000, and 4 will be 2001. So before we can type in the data, we need to go into our calculator and clear some things out. So whenever I type in data to do a stat calculation, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my y equals, and I'm going to clear everything that I have in here out in case I was using it to graph another function at some point. So I'm going to clear out y1 so that this is completely empty. Then I'm going to go to stat where I type in the data. So stat edit, which is number 1, and I'm going to type in the data. So I have L1, L2, and L3 are empty right now. If there was some data in here, so let me just go ahead and show you, and I'm just going to randomly put some numbers in here. Let's say there were some numbers in here in your L2 and your L3. Before you want to type in the data, you want to make sure they're empty. So the easiest way to empty them is just to arrow up to L1 and hit clear, enter, and then that will delete everything out. So if I arrow over and I arrow up to L2, see how L2 is highlighted? If I hit clear, enter, that'll delete them out. Okay, so L1 is going to represent my x value. So I'm going to type in 0, 1 through 4. And then I'm going to arrow over, and L2 is going to represent my tuition. So my first tuition is $9,756. My next one is $10,441, $10,941, $11,547, $12,091. Now, if I hit graph, what you're going to see is you're going to see a blank screen. And it's because you haven't set it up so that it graphs. So you need to turn on your stat plot. So to turn on your stat plot, you go to second y equals, which is stat plot, and you're going to tell the calculator where the data is. So I'm just going to hit, you can choose any of these, but I'm just going to hit enter on 1, and I'm going to turn it on. So I'm going to make sure that this is highlighted, so hit enter there. Then I'm going to arrow down, and my first one has to be highlighted. That's my scatter plot. My X list, so my X's are in L1, that's the year. My Y list is L2, so that's the tuition. And if you needed to change these for some reason, second 1 would give you L1, second 2 would give you L2, etc. And your mark can be whatever you want. So this time when I hit graph, since my stat plot is turned on, you may or may not see anything. And again, it's probably because of your Windows settings. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my Windows settings, and I could change these by hand. So my smallest X number is 0. So I want to be able to see the XY axis. So I'm going to make my X min a little bit smaller than 0. So I'm going to make it -5. And my X max is 4. So I like to make it a little bit bigger than 4. Let's make it 10. And I'm going to count by ones. So X scale is what I'm counting by, so I'm going to count by ones. My Y min, my smallest tuition dollar value, is $9,756. And so let's start it at, I want to go smaller than that. Maybe we'll start at $9,500. And my largest tuition value is $12,091. So let's go to maybe 12,100. Now, you don't want to count by ones to do this one, because that would be a lot of, if you manually had to draw that, that would be a lot. So maybe you can kind of play around with it, but maybe you Y scale, maybe you want to count by hundreds. and we can change that if we need to like 500 or something. And I never change this XRes. So this time when I hit graph, okay, you see the data points. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 data points, and that's what I have in my XY table. This top one's kind of chopped off, so maybe I want to go back to my window, and maybe I want to increase my Y max maybe a little bit more. Maybe I'll make it 12,500 so that when I hit graph, it's not chopped off by the top of the graph. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and maximize this so you can see the graph a little bit better. And the next thing I'm going to do is I want to find, this appears to be linear because it appears to make a straight line, and I'm going to get the graphing calculator to tell me the line of best fit or the regression equation. So to do that, I go to Stat and I arrow over to Calc, and I do arrow down here to linear regression because it appears to be linear, so I arrow down to number 4 and I hit enter. Now the calculator for the most part has it set up for you, so the X list is L1, the Y list is L2, and you can just go ahead and hit calculate on that, and it would find you the equation. So if I wanted to, this equation would be 577.6x plus 9800. So if I look at my answers here for my multiple choice, 576.6x plus 9800, I believe is what it said. My question answer to this would be A, would be my correct answer. Okay. If I wanted to actually see the line on here, I could go to Y equals, and I could manually type in 577.6x plus 9800, and if I graph that, it would actually draw the line through the points for me. However, if I didn't want to have to manually type that in, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Y equals, and I'm going to clear this out, and I'm going to get the calculator to type that in for me. So I'm going to go to Stat, arrow over to Calc, go down to your number 4 linear regression, and everybody's calculator is a little bit different. This particular 84 that I'm using, and the operating system that it has, the X list comes up as L1, the Y list comes up as L2, and what I need to do is I need to tell it where to store the regression equation. So to get the regression equation that I want, I would go to vars, arrow over to Y vars, hit number 1 function, hit enter on Y1, and it would type it in Y1 right here. So now when I choose to calculate, if I arrow down to calculate and hit enter, what it's going to do is it still gives me the same answer, but this time when I go to Y equals, it has typed that equation in for me. The calculator actually typed it in for me, and notice that when I hit graph, it has drawn the actual equation for me. Now, when you go to Stat and you arrow over to Calc, and you go down to number 4 linear regression, not every calculator will show this screen right here where it says X list, Y list, frequency list, store regression equation, calculate. Some calculators will just say linear regression, and you will have to type in L1, comma, L2, comma, Y1. So your steps to do that will be Stat, Calc, arrow down to linear regression, second 1 for L1, comma, second 2 for L2, comma, vars, arrow over to Y vars, function, Y1. So you will actually have typed in linear regression, L1, comma, L2, comma, Y1, and then if you hit enter, you should get the same thing for this particular problem that I'm showing up here in my Y1 screen, the 577.6x plus the 9800. Okay. Just a couple quick tips. If you're having trouble setting your window and you're not sure what to set your window to be, if you go to Zoom, Zoom Stat, if you arrow down till you find Zoom Stat, I think it's 9, will be a quick way for the calculator to set what it thinks the window should be. So if I hit Zoom Stat here and I go back and look, notice that my window has changed. If I go back and look at my window, the calculator thought that it should count from negative 0.4 to 4.4 by ones, and they thought the min should be 9,359.05 and the max should have been 12,487.95, and they left the scale at 100. So if you are having trouble setting your window, again, go to Zoom, arrow down to Zoom 9, which is Zoom Stat, and hit Zoom Stat, and your calculator will set the window for you.